Stay with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's not time for us to look at what the papers are reporting. First off, let's have a peek through the Nation newspaper with the banner headline: U.S. delivers critical military assets to battle terrorists, bandits. And the rider reads, this delivery supports Nigeria's ongoing operations and emphasizes our shared security partnership. That's according to AFRICOM, that's Africa Command. Blueprint newspaper: U.S. boosts Nigeria's counterinsurgency capacity with critical military equipment. Strategic support to NDLEA against organized crimes underway. U.S. AFRICOM. Next is the Punch newspaper. Governors budget 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. Security votes jump 40% since 2023. Borno, Anambra, Delta record highest budgets. Northeast and Southeast lead. Next is the Guardian newspaper. Lingering sit-at-home disruption may hurt Southeast's 5.7 trillion naira fiscal plan. Next is the Daily Trust newspaper talking about politics of things. Kwankwanso backs temporary APC shift. And this Nigeria, tax reforms. Federal government's consultant Oyedele alleges death threats. Tax issue worsened by Nigerians' low public trust in governance or government and limited visibility of how public revenues are utilized. Next is the Nigeria News Direct. Nigeria wins big as UAE drops tariffs on thousands of exports. Deal unlock tariff-free access for over 70,000 Nigerian products. Expands investor protections, open pathway into wider Middle East markets. Next is the Leadership newspaper. 1 week after Chimamanda's son death, this is very tragic. Kano woman dies of seizures left in her body. Family alleges negligence. Kano government suspends 3 hospital workers over incident. And the penultimate paper here is the Nature News newspaper. Nigeria, South Africa's climate pledges under threat over fossil fuel expansion plans. And last but not least is the Sporting Live with Coach Shell explaining that Super Eagles will play differently. And we have Regragui crying out. That's the coach for the Moroccan team, saying Alex Iwobi, Osimhen, Lukman are threats. Relieved, Ndidi is out. Okay, you keep crying wolf and see what happens when we get into the pitch with you. But let's get down to brass tacks by having this conversation with my colleagues, Etoma, Ria, and indeed the delectable Olamide.
Oh, stop. On national television.
All right, then. So if you look at the Nation newspaper and the... why are you smiling?
Let's focus.
The Nation newspaper and the Blueprint newspaper, talking about the U.S. and Nigeria's collaboration since President Donald Trump, the POTUS, saying that there is Christian genocide in Nigeria. But it's good to see that we're now seeing collaboration rather than animosity between the two giant countries or nations, so to speak.
Yeah, the optics are good. Yes, they are giving us equipment that we need to fight insecurity and so on. But you see, America is not a Father Christmas. Yeah. So my question is, what's the catch?
That's right.
Do we know what the catch is? Yes, we are going to see more of this. We're going to see boots on the real collaboration, as in American soldiers side by side, Nigerian soldiers fighting insecurity. We're going to see more of that. We're going to see more equipment being given. We're going to see advice from them to us. And we're going to see a situation where we'll use some of their military consultants in getting this thing done. Rumors fly in the air is that there's a list that has been compiled, and this list will be made public very soon. And individuals
identified
will be identified.
Sponsors of terrorists.
That will be identified.
U.S. officials should be number 1 on that list.
And arrested. My biggest concern is, what is the catch?
Absolutely. At least it's good, because when we have terrorism financing, and then we know that certainly U.S. always wants to do business, and we know that they have currently a transactional president who sees money first rather than safeguarding life and property. But it's good that they are selling ammunition to us, and it's one thing for us to receive this ammunition after spending huge amount of money to buy them, but to use them judiciously.
You know, I'll just say, business aside, at the end of the day, we want to crop out insecurity in Nigeria. And we are the giants of Africa. So I love the fact that now we're talking about collaboration rather than what we're talking about before, force. Because I always say it, without intelligence, we are just talking. We will never be able to fight insecurity, you know, in Nigeria. I know that drones have been given. I know that now we're going to focus more on intelligence. Trackers as well, which is very important, you know, because without these trackers, how are you able to track where, you know, these kidnappers are? Also, name calling. I think that this is the right time that we start calling names of the sponsors of these people.
That's right.
Because Ibrahim, oftentimes we are not going grassroots. We are just fighting the battle from the top. But you win a battle, you know, from grassroots. So who are the people sponsoring these terrorists? Because they cannot do it on their own. Some of the ammunition that these people have, it's not small money. Where did they get the money? So I feel like that name calling is even the number one. The people sponsoring them should be very much arrested. But I love what US is doing. Of course, I don't know their other motive, but I always stand on anything that will crop out insecurity in Nigeria is what we need. We don't need to wake up one morning, oh, people have died here, farmers cannot go to farm. You know, speaking to someone in the rural area, we speak about it on this table, but do you know how devastated it is for people in the rural area? Some of them wake up in a lot of fear. You know, a parent was saying to one of my friends that her daughter is not going to go to school. And it was just really heartbreaking for me that because of insecurity now, that girl is losing, you know, education. So I feel like the collaboration will really work, but most importantly, let us use the, you know, equipment. I don't want it to come to another meme that we're going to see online. The equipments are not being used for the right things. And the people that will handle equipment should be the right people as well.
What would you like to see in the long run?
This is how you interfere in the affairs of another sovereign state. You offer technical assistance, you offer financial backing, you offer your support in ways that are measurable. The question now to Nigeria is whether we can translate this foreign military assistance or intervention into measurable security gains. We have no excuse. The federal government has just said now that they're budgeting about 525 billion naira for security. Security is our biggest budgetary allocation and it's our top priority. And now we're also receiving help from the USA. We've got no excuse. Where I worry that we will struggle is that, as you've all rightly mentioned, the United States does have an agenda. And the question now is, will we have the political will to out these terrorists, the terrorism financiers? Because they're going to want names, they're going to want intelligence. I believe that it's no longer an issue of intelligence or firepower or manpower. It's now an issue of utilizing the help that we've been given and giving America the intelligence and strategic cooperation that they need from us in this moment.
They need from us.
The way I'm even looking at it is that America is going ahead with gathering intelligence of its own in Nigeria. And they're not sharing some of those intelligence too. And if you look at what is happening in Venezuela, you want to say, why did America hit Venezuela? You know, so at times you do these things for resources, for minerals,
personal
and
gains,
all that.
pecuniary gains.
But you also do it so your rival doesn't have access to what that country is well known for.
It's a battle of the
the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Pete Hegseth, who has always been in opposition of this government. He's always been for boots in the ground and for airstrikes in Nigeria. And then now he's coming to Nigeria with a smile on his face. I saw him up on a private jet yesterday. I said, Pete Hegseth, was it not last week?
Don't worry.
When we even speak about all of this, for me, the most important thing on the table is that lives should not continue to be lost in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So let us please, let us fight.
I mean, it's good that the federal government is buying this ammunition from them. This what's it called?
And it needs to be given to the right people.
It is not that they are selling it directly to the terrorists.
Right.
So if you know what I mean. Now the Punch newspaper says government's budget 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. And we see that security votes jumping 40% since 2023. Borno, Anambra, Delta record highest budget. Northeast, Southeast, taking the lead. So the problem here is that you're not budgeting high. Security votes, has always been, that question. There always been that questions around security vote. Yeah. How have you utilized it? But the thing is, terrorism, kidnapping, banditry are still on the rise, even though we have this amount of budgeting.
Yes, when it's just like a football game. This team wants to win and is doing everything possible to win, and this other team is doing the same. So for the terrorists, they need to show that in spite of the collaboration with America, in spite of the budgetary provision, in spite of the fact that security votes have been jacked up and so on and so forth, we are still on ground.
That's right.
So it's how do I put it? It's you slap me, I slap you kind of situation that we are seeing right now.
Ria, let's race on by moving on to the Guardian newspaper. Lingering sit-at-home disruption may hurt Southeast 5.7 trillion naira fiscal plan. And this is like the first time, how the Southeast combined, all the budgets, each individual state having up to more than 1 trillion naira, for budgetary allocations. But still, Mondays are a no-go or are no-goes for
and since this thing started in 2021, with Nnamdi Kano, when this whole sit at home started, I remember I was telling someone that it cannot end well and it will not be the very.
And they're losing over 10 billion every Monday.
It didn't really even start mandatory first. It just started that people were not going to market on the Monday, and now it's now mandatory because people are not going out because of fear and certain reasons. And when it started from the beginning, I said it will not end well, because if you want to grow your economy, you cannot do that by people sitting in the house.
That's right.
We're talking about tax. We're talking about just making sure that people are selling, people are buying, and trade is going on well. Now, how would trade go on well if the people are sitting at home? So I think that that's something that really needs to be looked at. Since 2021, this thing has been occurring, and I think in 2026, it's high time that people are able to go out freely and just do their business. Because without that business, how do you now bring profit back to the states?
Yeah, because of our time, Olamide, let's move on to the Daily Trust newspaper. Kwakwanso backs temporary APC shift. So, he first kicked, against Governor Abba Yusuf, joining the APC, saying that, we rescued you guys from, this party, and then you are now serving yourself to them. But now he's talking to the appointees, the elected officials under his own NNPP that, you know what, guys, just play along.
That is very pragmatic. What is happening here is that you are one leg in or you're one leg out. He's being very pragmatic as opposed to a complete ideological or political surrender. Kwankwaso is protecting his interests at the federal level.
That's right.
And with the fluidity and the transactional nature of our politics in the moment, he would be right to do so ahead of 2027. I'm not surprised at all.
Exactly. But the thing with, politicians as well, they are very dicey. Me, I'm not surprised for Kwankwaso to say this. I will not be surprised to wake up one morning and he has joined the APC. The other day we were talking about it. Oh no, it was just yesterday I was, speaking about Mr. Biono. Having Yusuf Abba leave, the NNPP to the, APC is a big one, because we know what Kano does in terms of votes. Kano, I say we are the, because I'm a Hausa girl, Kano has the highest number of voters, so I can see where Kwankwaso is trying to align with politics as well. It's not about loyalty.
No, but the thing is, all I see, pragmatism, as you said, and he's just being strategic.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
We'll see what happens.
It's about strategy, not even loyalty at this point.
Yeah, all is just ahead of 2027, and
it's almost here. Like we're already.
It's here already, though. This Nigeria, people after the federal government's consultant live Oyedele, alleging death threats. Since he introduced the tax reforms, saying that about 60 agencies will not be. Some of them have personalized, tax collection, for their own private gains, and this is very bad. So he had to move from his own built house to a rented apartment under, police protection and all of that. This is so bad. We have enemies of Nigeria who don't want this country to grow.
Just like we're talking about politicians thinking of their own interest, business owners also think of their own interest. And if you come up with, if you are the one that backed up a policy.
Well, genuine business owners think of their own interest, but in this case, these are crooked business owners.
Well, you really can't say if they are crooked or they are straight. So for this discourse, let's just call them business owners. You're right.
Protecting their territory.
They are protecting their territory. And they are saying, what kind of consultants are you that came up with such a policy that is going to make my business harder for me to do? It is unfortunate that they would stoop so low as to try, as to threaten his life. It is completely unacceptable.
Right. And just to add a little bit to this, I say this all the time, that we keep comparing our country, to the outside country. We want to japa, we want to do all of that. But I think that we ourselves, we do not try to make our country better, because we know the importance of tax. Abroad, we know how people pay tax. That's now right. I'm wondering, something good has come out to help Nigerians. And people may not agree with me, but pay your tax. It's something you are supposed to do. It's not... Often Nigerians will say that it's an obligation, but Nigerians will say that, because we are not seeing the dividends, we say, Toma. And right now, that's why when we had the conversation with the tax man the other day, I said, it's high time for us to start seeing the dividends of the tax, so that when we don't see people paying their tax, we know that this person is a problem. Because even if you're a business owner, you are trying to secure your business at the detriment of your own country. Right. So how would your country now go?
Yes, very quickly, there has not been any innovator of whether it was policy, whether it was an actual physical invention or a product, anybody that brought a new idea that their life was not threatened. In Nigeria, especially if you are doing the right thing, you better sleep with both eyes open. It's as simple as that.
Makes sense. Let's skip to the leadership newspaper. 1 week after Chimamanda's son's death, This is good English. Kano woman dies of seizures left in her body, but very sad story. Family alleges negligence. Kano government suspends 3 hospital workers over incidents. This is so sad. I do not know, how to.
The scissors is in the woman's abdomen. So
After
it's not. Nobody is alleging anything. There was clear negligence there.
Yeah.
There was clear negligence there, and this puts a big question mark on our medical sector. The government really has to take a serious look at our medical sector, do the investments that are necessary, and do the trainings also that are necessary.
It's a urology hospital in Kano.
This is not the first time something like this is happening. That's what we also need to understand. Oftentimes we keep speaking about we're not treating the doctors well, they're not getting enough money, but in as much as that, you have chosen a job, you have chosen a profession, and if you say you want to be a doctor, there's so many emotions. Like, you need to pay attention to details. How is it possible that something like that is left, in the tummy of someone? You sewed it back, and you didn't think.
Like,
so,
when you do something, you just keep it in the abdomen.
Even me as a journalist, there are things that I know that,
little...
I'm putting my mind on the job.
This is gross medical negligence.
You find out that what is the reason for this. Now, I'm really praying that the family of this woman sues. Like, I'm hoping that they go forward with it, because this woman would not have lost her life if this did not happen.
The government,
I think our doctors need to do way better. There's a lot that needs to be done.
The government has actually, suspended, 3 members.
It's not just about suspension.
No. At least, to start with. That's
more has to be done.
action.
More has to be done, like you said, Ria. It's not just about suspension. But I will say this, and this is not to say that what happened was okay or was not gross medical negligence. Nigerian doctors are severely tired. They are understaffed. They are overworked. They are underpaid.
And so
it doesn't. I agree with you. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it okay. But this is a call to action for not just government, but key health sector stakeholders to step in.
I agree with you, Olamide, but then resign if you feel tired, if you feel burned out, rather than killing
It is easier to ask
somebody.
someone to resign, but the question they'll ask you is that how do you want me to feed and take care of my family?
And how do you want to kill people?
We can only urge them to pay attention. If you're not fit to do anything, be on duty that day. Just allow somebody else to do it. That's
yes,
just
I agree that our government needs to do more.
The problem is that somebody else is not available.
It's an ongoing conversation. We have to look at the fundamental problem. The Nature News newspaper say Nigeria's South Africa climate pledge is under threat over fossil fuel expansion plans. And we know that as of January 2026, both Nigeria and South Africa, they are facing this criticism for expanding fossil fuel production, a move that researchers warn directly contradicts their intentional or international climate pledges. We also see the US also saying that, listen, all these fossil things, renewable energy that you guys are talking about, we are not interested. We are actually looking at the business side of it. But quickly, the last but not least is the sports and life. Super Eagles will play differently according to our coach. And then we have, what's his name? Regragui crying out, saying Alex Iwobi, Osimhen, Lookman are threats. But he's relieved that Ndidi, our captain, is out. So he's saying that, but with these 2 guys, 3 guys, I'm still scared though.
No, but I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful for the Super Eagles.
Yes, I am. But I like I did on Saturday, I would like to tell the Super Eagles that today you are not just playing 11 men, you are playing a whole country.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you go there with the determination to win. It is not right that because you hosted you have to win.
We should go now.
We can.
Super Eagles, let's do this. Let's bring this home. We trust you. Let's bring this home. There's a lot of money at stake as well for them.
Absolutely.
So let's bring this
huge
home.
reward. All right, then that's about it for the newspapers up for review. Coming up on TVC Breakfast. Questions trail the death of Chimamanda Adichie's son. Was it medical negligence or an unavoidable tragedy? We will examine the facts and issues after the break. Just stay with us.